it's Sue of Done Crafting here, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to find the florist for you. Now, a good way is word of mouth. If your friends or relatives or colleagues have had a really good experience with a florist who has done beautiful arrangements, who worked well with that person, that's a really good starting point. I do recommend that you have a face-to-face chat, either online or person to person, if that's possible, with 2 or 3 florists. And here's why. It's really important that actually you like the person you're going to be dealing with, that you feel that they are interested in you and in your story, and they can give you the time. Because how else are they going to realize and bring your vision and your dream to reality if they're not really that bothered? So making a list of questions when you go to see your florist is always a good idea. I don't know about you, but whenever I go to see somebody with questions in my head, as soon as I speak to them, everything goes out of my brain and I sit there like a lemon. So I'm a big fan of lists. So first of all, ask your florist how many weddings they've booked for the year, especially around your date. Preparing flowers for a wedding and reception is time intensive. And you need to be sure that for your wedding, your florist isn't double booked. I can tell you a story. A friend of mine, her daughter was getting married, and they had everything sorted out as far as the flowers were concerned. And on the day, the flowers were supposed to be delivered at about 10:30 in the morning, or they didn't arrive. So mother phones the florist in a panic, beginning to think, what's going on here? And the florist said, oh, oops, sorry, I'm already involved in another wedding. I double booked you. Sorry, can't help you. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? All hell broke loose. The bride thought that she was going to be walking down the aisle with no flowers at all. Unfortunately, the mother, who was incandescent with rage, as you can imagine, calmed down enough to contact another local florist who was able to step in and help. And actually, the flowers that she did were wonderful. But can you, I mean, really? No, you don't. You do not want to have that possibility. Absolutely not. How early should you book your florist? Well, under normal circumstances, 6 months in advance is usually fine. But these are not really normal circumstances at the moment because of the virus. So I think my feeling is that you should do it sooner rather than later, if you possibly can, if you're at that point. Lots of couples who have had weddings scheduled for this year, for 2020, are postponing for 2021. So if that's the year that you're planning on getting married, or even 2022, you might find that your chosen date has been snapped up already. So I would start making inquiries pretty damn quick, actually. If by any chance social distancing is still in place, and it's not feasible to have a one-to-one conversation, find out if your florist will do a video consultation. It's not rocket science. And if she says, or he says, oh no, we don't do that, it'll have to be by email. Well, actually, no, move on. Find somebody else who is prepared to talk to you face to face. It doesn't have to be by Zoom. It can be by FaceTime or by Skype. There are all sorts of platforms that people can use. WhatsApp has its own little video thing. I use it all the time. So it's important to be able to speak to a person rather than do it by email. I do a lot of orders online, and sometimes email is what it has to be. But my first choice is always actually being able to speak to the person on a person-to-person basis. The other thing is real or artificial flowers. What's your preference? I love real flowers. You can't really match them for their delicacy and the perfume. Artificial flowers, silk flowers in particular, are exquisite now. The standard is fabulous. And you can add a spray to give a sort of an aroma, but it's not the same. However, if you or any member of your bridal party suffers from allergies, you could find that having real flowers could be an issue. You don't want people sneezing as you walk down the aisle. Be a bit shame. And of course, with silk flowers, they last forever. So you've got something to take home. Because of the effects of the coronavirus, there is a lot of pressure on flower growers, and how this is going to affect the flower industry, I have no idea. Nobody really knows. What is very likely is that prices will go up next year. Will that be the same for artificial flowers? Again, I don't know. China is by far and away the biggest producer in the world of artificial flowers, mostly in their southern province, which begins with a G, and I can't pronounce it, so I'm not even going to try. Now they are beginning to get back to work, and accessibility should be fine, and it takes about 3 weeks for the flowers to get here, so they should be clear of any nasty bugs. And I don't know, I don't want to sort of preempt things there. So if real flowers is the way you want to go, then do that. Do that, because that's your dream, that's your vision, and that is more important than anything else. If you like the idea, prefer the idea of artificial flowers, come and talk to me, because I would just love to work with you. And we can make something absolutely stunning. And we can have that conversation about you and about your story, so that together we can choose the right flowers for you. Okay. And there's usually a way around it as far as fresh flowers are concerned. What about wildflowers? Ask your florist, once that you've chosen your florist, you speak to her about accessibility of flowers, what flowers she will be able to get, either from British growers or whatever, for your chosen date, and then see if there's likely to be a shortage, or she thinks she might be. Ask her about wildflowers, about wild grasses, hedgerow flowers. She could perhaps make something that's absolutely gorgeous and free, and a celebration of nature and new life and new beginnings. How wonderful would that be? Wonderful. By the way, I have the other videos that I've done are now loaded up on YouTube. Go me. So if you've missed them and you can't find them on Instagram, pop over to YouTube. I've got my own channel there, and let me know what you think. All right, I shall be in touch next time. Have a lovely day. Bye now.